Hello, good morning. Our first issue is Pegasus. Day before yesterday also we have read few articles on this. Today also we have 3 articles. One about Pegasus project, disruption of parliamentary houses regarding this issue, that's one issue in news. Second issue, investigative journalism. So is investigative journalism, is it leading to good cause or not? That's one issue. And then Israel has started independent probe on the activities of the firm especially regarding this Pegasus issue. So these things are continuous issues, that means evolving issues. Tomorrow also we will see the updates on this. You have to go through the entire week's issues and then revise it. Next issue is microplastics in Ganga River. Recently, an NGO, Delhi-based NGO, along with National Oceanographic Institute, has conducted water sampling in the Ganga River. This study has resulted into findings of microplastics in Ganga River. What are microplastics? Microplastics are synthetic solid particles ranging from 1 micrometer to 5 millimeters. So these are insoluble in water, means not soluble in water. Microplastics are major sources of marine pollution. They flow from various lakes, rivers, streams, and then enter into oceans. These microplastics, when they enter into oceans, these are consumed or ingested by various marine species that can bioaccumulate, that can lead to various biodiversity and human health issues. Right, microplastics now. Here, why in Ganga River we have microplastic load? Because of the untreated sewage from many cities along the 5 states through which this Ganga River flows. Industrial waste, religious offerings, so these also lead to plastic pollution in the river. Plastic products in general, when they are dumped into the river, they slowly break down and eventually they turn into microplastics. The river water finally transports these large amounts of microplastics into ocean, which ultimately act as a sink. As we discussed, it affects the marine life as well as humans. Next issue, important one, RBI's digital currency pilot project. Recently, RBI has announced that in next coming weeks, it is going to go for pilot project on central bank digital currency. Digital currency is also known as virtual currency. We have private virtual currencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Now RBI wants to go for pilot project of central bank digital currency, not with private digital currency. Central bank digital currency, it says that it cuts down the cost of currency management and expands the real-time payments. Finance Ministry has constituted an interministerial committee, high-level interministerial committee to recommend for cryptocurrencies. This committee has recommended for 1. Introduction of central bank digital currency. That means RBI itself releases the cryptocurrency. For that, this committee has recommended to amend the RBI Act. Second one, it has recommended for banning the virtual currencies, banning private virtual currencies. Third thing, it has recommended for use of DLT, distributed ledger system, for various financial applications including banking, insurance, collateral management, fraud detection, securities market. In all these areas, it has recommended to use this technology called distributed ledger technology, which forms backbone for digital virtual currency. And this bill, that is draft bill on banning cryptocurrency and regulation of official digital cryptocurrency, this is proposed, and now in the parliamentary session this government might introduce this particular bill. Next issue is Reliance and Futures deal and Amazon's complaint against it. In 2020, Futures Group, it has come to an agreement with Reliance Retail. Under this deal, what is the agreement? Retail, wholesale, logistics and warehousing facilities of Future Group are sold out to Reliance. In 2019, Amazon has acquired 10% shares in the Futures Group. And then now Amazon says, see, if you are selling your retail business to someone, you have to take permission from us. You have to inform us. We have the first right to refusal. That means we can refuse this particular agreement. but you didn't inform us. That's the complaint of Amazon. But Futures Group says that we don't have that obligation. Then Amazon went to Singapore International Arbitration Center. This has ruled in favor of Amazon, and it has asked Reliance Future Deal to help for some time. And then Amazon also complained to Competition Commission of India because Competition Commission of India said that there is nothing which is against the Indian rules in this Reliance Futures deal. So Amazon has requested for reconsideration. CCI has said that whatever Amazon has complained, it has given the false information. It has not given the full information. That's why this is in news now. Next, let's understand the editorials. First one is limits to cooperation. Recently, Supreme Court has given its judgment with regard to constitutionality of some of the features of 97th Constitutional Amendment Act. Under 97th Constitutional Amendment Act, Part 9b was introduced, and this particular amendment has provided that how state can legislate on cooperative societies and how the provisions including number of maximum directors in each society, reservation of seats for SCs, STs, women, and other terms and conditions are given. Under this particular Amendment Act, cooperatives are part of state list. But then union also held certain powers under this cooperatives. Supreme Court in this particular case has held that whatever the powers of states which the center is trying to take away, they need to be restored. All those provisions that contravene this particular condition are declared as unconstitutional, other things are allowed. For example, multi-state cooperative societies, center having control on them, that is said as constitutional. Other provisions wherein this one, and declaring the tenure of the directors of cooperative societies, service conditions, etc. As these are part of state list, center controlling them are declared unconstitutional. Next issue is Tokyo Olympics. Tokyo Olympics 2020. The latest edition of Olympics are named as Tokyo Olympics 2020. This will commence from 23rd July, that is from today onwards. And COVID protocols in place. Many people have expressed the concerns regarding the conduct of this. But International Olympics Committee has said that we are taking abundant precautions. COVID-19 protocols all are in place. That's why they are going ahead with this. In this context, if we introspect on the India's medal tally in the past few decades, it is not up to the mark. Yes, we have second largest population. Yes, we have diversity of sporting culture in India. But lack of state-of-the-art infrastructure, improper sports administration, and our education system seeing marks as the primary achievement, there are many factors for this trend. These needs to be changed. Next issue is National Curriculum Framework. National Curriculum Framework, NCERT has tasked with this now. NCERT has tasked State Councils of Educational Research and Training to develop the State Curriculum Framework. Now, State Curriculum Framework includes school education, early childhood care and education, teacher education, adult education. So these categories are devolved under National Education Policy, recent National Education Policy. We have to consider the democratic principles of India, and education should be in the spirit of democracy. Macaulay system of education, which was introduced during the colonial period, still we are following that. Now the education system needs a fresh rethink. This curriculum need to be framed in a context to show the spirit of Indian diversity, Indian culture, constitutional spirit. Next issue is new e-commerce rules. Recently, government has proposed for amendments to Consumer Protection Act 2019. The provisions that are sought to be amended include appointment of Chief Compliance Officer and Resident Grievance Officer to deal with e-commerce complaints, provisions of fallback liability. Whoever delivers that particular e-commerce product, they have the liability, and registration of all e-commerce entities, and ban on flash sales. These are there under e-commerce rules. Now we want to propose for amendments to this act and bring them as a statutory provision. The purpose of these rules are said to be to protect the consumer interest, to prevent the unfair trade practices by the deep pocket e-commerce companies and to encourage the fair competition in this market. But then there are certain issues. What are they? There are overlapping jurisdictions because these rules they define all goods and services that are delivered through the e-commerce platforms or through electronic platform are defined as e-commerce activities. So there are multiple goods and multiple services, so multiple jurisdictions are there. And lack of clarity on intent because as registration is mandatory, grievance officers, all these things they become burden for the new upcoming startup e-commerce companies, etc. Already those who have deep pockets and who are already established in the market, they need not give any discounts now. For example, we have Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra. These gathered the market momentum. They have the market shares, large market shares. Now the upcoming e-commerce companies they are going to get affected. So that's one of the concerns of new e-commerce rules. These are today's articles. Thank you very much. All the very best.